Hi guys! Today we're going to be doing another book haul. So last weekend, my boyfriend and I went to this store called Martin's, which is a chain of stores that sells like surplus and salvaged goods, and it's all like heavily discounted and you never know what you're gonna find. This time we went and there was a big ol' aisle of books that were all marked down 70%. So I went a little crazy. It was 70% off list price, so they were all around, $18 to 20 something dollars. So with the discount, most of these books were around like $4 or $5. And I thought I would share what I got with you. Starting off with the most expensive book, they had some graphic novels that were not actually part of this sale, but this was still already pretty heavily discounted. This is The Golden Age, which is a hardcover graphic novel. The list price is $30 and it was marked down to $12. So that was still a really good discount. I felt really good picking this up. I had never heard of The Golden Age before, but just flipping through it, the art is just stunning. I love the color palette. It's just so pretty and just, it's just amazing art. This follows the story of Princess Tilda, and her father has just passed away, so she's getting ready to take over the throne herself. But when she's about to do so, her little brother and sort of these other noblemen who are manipulating him end up usurping her and running her out of the kingdom. And her and a few other loyal men kind of go around the countryside trying to gather support for basically taking back her throne. But she's also met with this sort of political movement that's also happening within the peasant class, where they're trying to sort of overthrow the current system. They don't want to be serfs anymore. They want everybody to be equal and share resources and live in this sort of utopia known as like the Golden Age. So Princess Tilda's really at odds with that philosophy, which is interesting because she's like our protagonist. She wants to help her people, but she also wants to maintain the current power structure that's in place that would have her queen. This story doesn't develop a whole lot into that. We're really just sort of introduced to the characters and the setting and sort of these different opposing philosophies. So I already read this one, obviously, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm hoping to find the next volume at a discount as well, because $30 is kind of a lot for a graphic novel, but this is really gorgeous, so I was really happy to find this. Then I also picked up Heartstopper Volume 1. I've heard so much about this series, and it's been highly recommended here on BookTube, so I was really excited to find this on sale as well. And this follows the story of Nick and Charlie, how they go from being friends to falling in love, and it's a really cute, touching, just very fuzzy, warm-feeling blanket kind of story. It's just so cute, and the art is really, it's simple, but it's really cute and really well done. I believe Alice Oseman wrote and illustrated this, so I'm really looking forward to picking up the next couple graphic novels in this series because I've already read this one and I can't wait to read the other ones. They're so cute. On to the actual novels that were all 70% off. First one I got was a memoir by Stephen King. It's also his sort of tips on writing, and it is aptly named On Writing. I read this in high school, actually, and I remember really enjoying the memoir part of this. I'm not quite so much into writing, but I'm from Maine. I've always kind of felt this sort of connection with Stephen King on that point, and I haven't read like his entire backlog of books or anything, but I've read a couple, and seeing his perspective on how he got some of his ideas and how he became a writer was really interesting, and he's had some really like weird life moments that I remember being really fascinated by when I first read this. So when I saw this on sale, I snapped it up because I've been wanting this for a while, but I haven't actually found it. It's not in a lot of bookstores these days, so this was a cool find. Getting into the next couple books, these are sort of like, I just went crazy, I blacked out, and just anything that I recognized, I pretty much picked up. So one of the first ones I found was The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and this came out very recently, like in the last 6 months or so. So I've heard this described as kind of like a YA Knives Out. This girl, unrelated to this billionaire, ends up becoming the sole inheritor of his estate, which pisses off his whole family that he is disinherited. And I believe the condition of her inheriting his fortune is that she must live with his family for like a year, which sounds very awkward and very intense. And I really enjoyed the movie Knives Out, so if this is sort of like a YA successor, I'm intrigued. Next up, we have The Extraordinaries by T.J. Klune. My boyfriend actually found this one amongst the stacks, and I saw T.J. Klune and I was like, yes, okay, because I really enjoyed House on the Cerulean Sea last year, and I believe this is a YA story from the same author, and it follows like superheroes or a kid that has like a crush on a superhero, and I don't know, it sounds adorable, it's queer, it sounds cute, and I can't wait to read another book by this author because I think his writing is so charming. Then we have an anthology that my friend Stephanie recommended to me a while ago, and that is A Phoenix First Must Burn, 16 stories of black girl magic, resistance, and hope. So this is a short story collection. It's all sci-fi, fantasy, magical stories that feature black girls, and I thought that sounded really cool because that's something you don't really see a lot in the fantasy genre, especially older fantasy books. This sounds like a really refreshing take on the genre, and I've been wanting to read more short stories, so this was really cool, and my friend recommended it, so when I saw this, snapped it up. This next one's probably the one I know the least about, but I've seen the cover, and it's gorgeous, and I needed it, and that is Shielded by Caitlin Flanders. I believe this is sort of like a Viking-ish, like Nordic story, like fantasy, and it features like the second-born heir to the throne. She ends up getting engaged to this prince from another neighboring kingdom. I don't quite know what's going on here. There's something about an ancient evil, a broken kingdom, and one girl with the secret to save the world. So it's kind of like a chosen one YA, but again, the cover's just so pretty, and I went a little crazy on this book buying haul, and I recognized it, so I was like, I gotta read it. This one was actually the cheapest book of this whole thing because it was already marked down to like $5.97. It's the only actual bargain marked book in this whole stack. All these other ones are in totally like new condition, not bargain. They weren't bargain price to begin with. So this one was $6 and then 70% off of that. It was only like $1 or $2. It was crazy. But that is an absolutely remarkable thing by Hank Green. I've read a couple of John Green's books, but I've never read Hank Green. And this I've heard is excellent. It's like a sci-fi book, and it follows a girl named April. She's in New York City when she spots a sculpture that just had randomly appeared. It wasn't there before. And she takes a video of it and posts it online, and it quickly goes viral because these statues start popping up all around the world with like no explanation. I don't know if she referred to it as a Carl, but they're called Carls. And so this sort of explores like the mystery of the Carls and why they're there and what's happening. So it sounds kind of quirky and cute, and I really like Hank Green. I've followed his sort of trajectory from YouTube to now he's a big TikTok star, which is weird. And I think he's really charming and funny, so I'm really excited to see what he's written. Next up, we have what I believe is a paranormal thriller, and that is The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. And this is like a dual timeline story that centers on this motel. In the 80s, this woman starts to work here, but something's like scary and like not quite right. And then we jump to sort of like a modern day timeline that follows this woman's niece, and she's trying to investigate the disappearance of her aunt. So we're kind of going back and forth trying to figure out what happened to her aunt, what's going on at the motel. I hope this is paranormal because I feel like I've read a lot of thrillers in the last year where it seems like it's going to be paranormal, but then there's like a twist that's like, oh no, it's like a Scooby-Doo type of thing, where it's like a real person all along, and I want some ghosts, dang it. So I'm really hoping this has something spooky and supernatural going on. I've heard really good things about it, so I'm excited to read this one. And last up, we have another YA fantasy, and that is Lobizona by Romina Garber. I have been trying to find the right word. I have admired this cover since it came out. I just think it's so gorgeous. She's got like star-shaped pupils. The level of detail in all of like the plants and stuff around her is just so stunning. So this book has been on my radar for a while because, again, the cover is just so eye-catching. But when I saw this, I snapped it up because I've been wanting to read it for a while. And it follows this girl, Manuela, and she is an undocumented immigrant in the United States. And on top of that, she's also like the daughter of both a witch and a werewolf. So I believe it's like she's not even supposed to exist. So not only is she an undocumented immigrant, she's also like illegal as a human being and like to exist in the first place. So that just sounds so intense and so layered, and I believe her mother ends up getting arrested by ICE. So it sounds like a really heavy read with sort of a fantastical element going on as well. But again, I was so excited to see this. I've been wanting it for a really long time. So I'm really excited to finally have this in my collection. All right, and that's the whole book haul for Martin's. I got 10 books, including the graphic novels, and I believe I spent less than $70 on all of these. I got a couple other things on that trip, so I'm not quite sure exactly how much I spent on these, but they were all super cheap, and I was really excited that we stumbled across that sale. I've been trying to kind of cut back on my book spending, but how can you say no to a 70% off sale? It's impossible, especially when I've saw so many books that like have been on my radar for a while and that I've been wanting to read. That was a really cool, lucky find, and I'm so excited to have all these. I'm so excited to have shared them with you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments which one of these books should I read first. I've tackled the graphic novels already, but I'm a little overwhelmed with everything else, so I don't quite know where to start. So if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. You can also follow my socials down in the description box below, and yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.